Recently, my cousin asked me what I'm sure she thought was a perfectly innocent question. What do you think about Twilight? It's not that I don't like Twilight, or that I can't stop making fun of it. But if you're going to be reading it, I think you should be aware that it's badly written. And if you don't know that it's really badly written, then I think you need to read like a lot of really good books, so that way you will be able to understand that it's really badly written. Because I have no problems with people liking Twilight. I actually did kind of enjoy the end of it. But I also understood that it's really kind of a poorly written book. A lot of my friends were confused about why I could even stand to read Twilight, since I tend to be pretty hard in literature in general. But Twilight is a popcorn book. It's a kind of book that you can just read really fast, throw away, and has no nutritional value. Just because it has no nutritional value doesn't mean that it's not still fun to read, or you can get something out of it. Because I did get something out of it. I got out of it that I think sparkling vampires are completely hilarious, and that I really, really super hate Bella Swan. So if you're going to be reading popcorn books, and I totally encourage the reading of popcorn books. I read a lot of popcorn books. Like I read media tie-ins for my favorite shows, and I read a lot of manga, and I read a lot of comic books. But I balance all of that popcorn fiction with, like, really good stuff. I read good YA, and I read good fiction, and I read good nonfiction. And I also read super nerdy books, like the Book of Shakespearean Insults and the Physics of the Buffyverse. So if you want to be a good writer, or if you just want to be a well-read reader, you really should read around. You shouldn't just stick to the good stuff. You shouldn't just stick to the popcorn books. You should read them all, because it's going to give you depth. Writers need to read those good books so that they can understand what good writing is. They need to be able to emulate a good sentence, a metaphor, characterization, good dialogue. They just need to be able to identify and then recreate that kind of good writing. But a popcorn book can give you really good stuff, because it can teach you a lot about pacing and a lot about plot. My example of this is the Da Vinci Code. On the sentence level, it's really not very engaging, but it's not supposed to be. It's not a book about discovering how an other is actually a me, or the complexities of growing up, or falling in love. It's a book about a plot. And that's great, because if you want to write a page-turner, you need a good plot. And that thing should be taught in creative writing classes for people who want to write pop fiction like that. Because it is fantastically written on the plot level and on getting people to turn pages quickly. And that's what you can get out of pop fiction books. You can learn how to plot and how to pace. And out of the really good fiction books, you can learn how to actually use a metaphor. And you can learn how to write realistic dialogue. And how to rip people's souls from their chests sometimes. In the end, you should read. And you should read what you want to read. If you're a writer, you do need to make sure that you're reading some good stuff just so that you can have that base for your own writing. But basically, if you're reading things that you're not interested in, then you're not going to enjoy them. So read what you enjoy. And even if it's sparkly vampires, go ahead. The thing that I like about this Shakespearean insult book is that the page is divided into thirds, so you can just take 1/3 of the page and turn it and make a new insult. Right now, I've got fawning, puke-stalking idiot worshiper. You can bet Shakespeare didn't have any sparkly vampires. Let's face it, he totally would have if he thought about it.